You got any plans for New Year's?
Actually, I want to do something this year for New Year's. I don't know
Yeah.
what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do something different this year as well. If I'm awake.
That's my thing. I'm an old fart, homie. Like,
I am sorry, but like I can't stay awake past 8 o'clock half the time.
oh. No, I'm usually we're in bed by like 10:30. Sometimes I have, if I'm getting a whole bunch of work and stuff done, I'll stay up late, but like I usually try and go to bed with Shan every night. So we'll go to bed and I'll just stay up and watch some TV for a little bit and then I'll get up and do what I gotta do. But yeah, we 10 o'clock, that's the max. I'm tired, homie.
Right. I might not see that ball drop this year, but you know what? Honestly, this is the first year that I feel like I'm really excited because I don't want to carry any toxicity into my new year at all.
Are you doing resolutions and stuff like that?
So I am setting goals for myself. I have certain goals that I do want to achieve this year.
Have you ever done any of the resolutions you've set for yourself?
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel like people every single year they make these like promises to themselves, the stuff they're gonna do, and before
Like I'm
February,
going to exercise every day and then it never happens.
yeah, it's by
Right.
February, it's out the window, and it's like, oh, I'll do it next year. It's like if you make that promise to yourself, you got to do it. The whole point of
Right.
that is to actually change your lifestyle, and you just have like a day to mark it. You know what I mean? So I I don't know. I already have my things that I'm kind of working on, so I don't know if I'm gonna have anything new, but I just want to keep things going. I mean, I'm doing good.
Right. You just want to keep moving forward no matter what.
Yeah. I
Right.
don't need a certain day to like say that I'm gonna change things. I've already been working on a lot of things. There are definitely more things that I want to accomplish, and I'm gonna try and strive for that. But I mean, I'm already doing that. I understand the point of it because it's a symbolic thing for a lot of people. They need that symbolism and that like day to decide they're gonna change.
What do you think about like dry January? You know how people say like, "Oh, I'm going to do dry January and I'm going to try, putting the alcohol aside for a month and seeing how it goes." A lot of people actually end up recovering, some of them.
Sure. I like it purely from like a standpoint, in winter a lot of people struggle more with their addictions and stuff like that just because it's cold outside, you're kind of stuck in and there's not a lot going on. So a lot of people do stuff like that and it's good because even if you aren't, stuck on alcohol or anything, it makes it so you don't end up doing excess. Oof.
I think they're just trends sometimes.
Some people need that little thing to like give themselves meaning and to give them a goal because nothing ever changes in their life. And that is kind of what I feel like a lot of those things are, which I don't know. I'm constantly trying to change things. So it just doesn't matter.
Right. Like no matter what, you're always working towards what you're working towards. And you don't need a certain day of the year to be like, "Oh, I'm done doing this."
Yeah, if people who get stagnant in their life and they're doing the same old thing and it's just, go to work, come home and hang out. I mean, I feel like a lot of people get trapped in that cycle because it is a cycle. You may switch it up every once in a while and do something different on a day, but nothing is actually like changing or growing in your life. And so those are the people that need stuff like that. I've never been, especially since I got off everything, I've never been stagnant. I'm always trying to do more and more and more. So I feel like if you need to do things like that, it's kind of a bad thing because you need that change.
Right. I guess it just depends on who you are and like what works best for you because certain things work for some people and
Yeah.
they don't work for other people.
Well, and hey, if you are in that stagnant cycle and you've probably been in it for years and you don't know how to make a change, something like that is a very a clear, concise thing that probably a lot of other people are doing at the same time, and it can kind of help you get into a different groove. Because, go ahead.
Well, I can really relate to that because I have a very close friend that's in the middle of a relapse right now. And this is somebody that I found recovery with, okay?
Sure.
Someone very near and dear to my heart. And finally, they're ready to make that positive change because they hit a very hard rock bottom recently. And
Okay.
I was on the phone last night with them, and it broke my heart because what I was trying to explain to my friend, you don't even sound like the same person anymore. I don't even recognize who I am talking to right now on the phone. I literally felt like I wasn't talking to her. I felt like I was talking to a stranger. Everything about how she was talking was not the person that I know. But I've seen her relapse before, and I've also seen her find recovery before. And I just keep telling her, like, you can do this. But when you're stuck in that cycle of feeling like she doesn't know how to put one foot in front of the other. And she feels stuck and she's scared. And I could really relate to that because I remember those days.
Yeah.
And it sucks because it made me remember like I don't even recognize the Marie from 5 years ago. I
Sure.
every year throughout my recovery, I've constantly evolved and grown and changed. And I became unrecognizable to other people as well. And some people like that change and some people don't like that change. But you know what? I'm my authentic self again.
It really doesn't matter what other people like and don't like. It's about you.
Right.
It's what you like. And if somebody doesn't like that change, that means they are probably stuck in a cycle that is unhealthy and just, not a good place.
But to hear from someone that you love so much and you can't get that breakthrough to them, man, I'm trying my hardest. I'm trying my hardest right now to get a bed for my friend. If anybody has any resources, I've reached out to a few people because honestly, I don't want to lose someone that I love. And that's what I feel like is about to happen.
Are they off of everything now or they're still using? And it's such a hard thing as a bystander because there's not anything you can really do. I mean, you're literally just stuck there waiting and hoping that you can make a difference. And
Right.
it's hard. It's hard watching people go through that. We put people through that too. Um, I mean, I know whenever I was using, people were hoping that I was done and, would turn it around, but it has to be the right time.
And she's ready though. She hit that wall where her back is up against the wall. There's DCF involvement. There's multiple police reports. It's to the point where she's hanging out with someone that is literally tearing her down. And I keep saying, you got to get away from people, places, and things, girl. You are going to not end up being here for your child.
Having kids makes a big difference. Just because you do have that stuff happen, you're going to lose them. You're obviously not being the best you for your kids whenever you're going through that,
But when
but
you're in that mind space,
it doesn't
when
matter.
I was having a conversation, it was like the person couldn't focus on that. Like they seemed so far
Yeah.
removed from reality that it was very scary to me because I know right now they're doing the F,
hmm
the Coca Cola,
hmm
the rack.
You convince yourself that you need those substances to actually take care of your kids. Because one, I mean, you're afraid of the withdrawal because if you're going through withdrawal and you have kids, it is a nightmare trying to deal
But
with
can I
kids.
tell you what happened? So
Sure.
my friend started to get on methadone. She is in the methadone clinic, but
Okay.
because of the xylazine and nitazine that is in the supply here in Massachusetts,
It didn't work.
literally the methadone, she's still able to use on it.
And that's kind of what things have evolved into. I mean,
So she's not even stable. And before she was very successful on Suboxone. And she was the one that got me to try Sublocade.
and now she's stuck.
Right.
And that's the scary thing now with because as much as some people may want to hate on the stuff, subs, methadone, all of it, it is still something that is a tool to be able to get your life on track and to be able to get out of the streets, get your finances together, get your life back. And
Right. Getting off of MAT is not for everyone. I just want to put that out there because the stress of life sometimes life happens. Like right now I'm going through a lot in my own personal life and there are days where it is hard.
yeah,
It's hard. And I just try to do my best, but I have people that reach out to me that do want to get off of Suboxone or methadone, and I always tell them, please just make sure that you're mentally prepared because it's
yeah.
not for everyone. That's why I continue to do my therapy. That's why that stuff is so important to me. But it's just hard when you're trying to make that breakthrough to someone
Mhm.
and they're just not hearing what you're trying to say.
And you got to remember, you can always go back. You if you're in a program right now and you're on that stuff and you do decide, hey, I want to go ahead and get off of it, I think I'm good without it. There's always the option. If it doesn't work out, you can always get back on it. That's not a big deal. It's
And there should be no shame
right.
around that.
And that's what I was just about to say. It doesn't mean
Right,
you failed.
right.
It doesn't mean you're any less of a person. It just, you still need that a little bit longer, or maybe forever. It doesn't matter because no matter what, you're still in a better place than you were.
And that's the thing that I keep telling her. I'm like, listen, you are the reason why I did what I did with Sublocade and got off of everything.
Right.
But also, guys, life is stressful when you're in recovery. And especially when you're a single person and you're trying to do it all. And that's this person's story as well. And support is everything. Support is everything. When you're struggling, you feel alone, and there's a lot of shame. And for her, all I heard was shame in her voice because of the things that have been happening. But you know what? That guilt and shame can eat you alive because when I felt that way, I used even more.
Whenever things are stressful and things are going bad, you again, you think you have to use to get through it because
Right.
you can't do anything without, using. You can't, you'll tell yourself you can't go to the grocery store. So how are you supposed to stand in front of a judge and get your kids back, or whatever? And that is the trap. That's where everybody ends up at some point, and it, you can only try and move forward because no matter what, that stuff is never actually going to help. Yes, it helps that second. It makes it so that you can get through whatever you have to get through without going through withdrawal. But if you just go through the withdrawal, get it over with, you get on, medication, whatever, you can move past all that and make it a little bit easier and then figure out how to handle life without needing that substance every time. And
Right.
it's the scary thing is the MAT medications aren't working as well anymore. People who were already on them, sure, they're doing great, but people who are trying to get on that stuff from the streets, it's harder now.
And that's the experience that she had.
Right.
So the nitazine and xylazine here in the supply is giving people sores all over their body. Their skin's breaking down. It's just one of those things that when you're trying to make that effort and keep trying to go to the clinic, but you're not there yet, it's like, I feel like sometimes these counselors at the clinic have to like really try to help these people a little bit better because you can't be at the clinic and still be testing positive for everything month after month after month after month.
Which most clinics, I feel like they don't let you. Some it depends on the clinic because if they're just looking out for money and that's all they care about, they don't care what else you're doing. I mean, you can drop dead
For
everybody.
profit.
Right. They don't want to lose their person. Like if they lose a person, they don't make as much money that month. So they'll keep on keeping on and let you just slowly fail. And I don't know if they're so like it's kind of like doctors where there's so many people in need that they show up and you get maybe 5 minutes of their time and then they kick you out the door. I kind of feel like it's starting to get like that for some of the clinics and they don't have the time to take care of everybody, so they just don't. They do the best they can with 5 minutes, but if you're talking to somebody who's been in active use for the past decade and they're they're just starting their shit, that 5 minutes isn't gonna do nothing, homie.
Right. That's why I firmly believe in therapy. And that's the one
Yeah.
part that this person didn't do before. And I think that therapy really helps people to get over past trauma. And some people, that past trauma comes creeping back in sometimes. And that's where the relapse happens.
Ricky said, I wonder what they will do for Matt if stronger drugs are coming into the streets. It's hard because there's no other mat medication. You know what I mean? For other things, it doesn't matter what it is. There's only mat medication really for OPEs. You can use things like Addies for METH and stuff like that, but it's just not the same, and that's where a lot of these people are ending up struggling because the OPE side is taken care of. It's all the other stuff, it all just keeps evolving. So you can't make something that will work for some of these nitazines because here in about 10 minutes it's not going to be effective anymore because they'll just change the formula.
So this is the issue. My friend hasn't been sleeping for days and days and days and days and days in a row. When you hear somebody like that talk, their mental health is tapped.
Oh yeah, they're gone.
Like, yeah, like she's been up for days and days and days. And it's like, it's hard to break through to someone when they're like that. But
At
she's ready. She's ready. We had to talk about it last night and she's ready. Like she has to just get a bed somewhere and do it. Like she's been texting me all morning. So that's a good sign.
I just hope she really is, really is ready because you think that all the time, and then it's just another thing comes around, and it's
And
hard.
it's like I told her, don't be ashamed. I can relate. When I lost my kids, I started using even more because I couldn't deal with those feelings. And
Yep.
that's what's going on right now. Like she can't take the amount of pain that she caused in her life. So we're masking that with substances.
That's the excuse that people tell themselves. You can't handle that pain, you can't handle what's going on in your life. But the key to fixing it is getting off all that stuff. It's not continuing to use. That's never going to make it better. It's going to make you feel better about yourself for a couple hours, and then you just go right back to where you were.
Right. And then it's that shameful spot of being like, I'm not a good mother. I'm not a good sister. I'm not a good friend. I'm not. And you are a good friend. You are a good person. You are a good mother. You are in there somewhere. We just need to get back to you.
Yeah. I remember thinking that I was never going to have my kids again.
Right.
And
Me
it's
too.
like the heartbreak that you go through whenever that happens, it's a whole different level. I mean, if you don't have kids and you haven't had to experience that, then that's awesome. But if you know where we've been at, if you've been there yourself, it's there's no feeling like that. I mean, it's it's different to because they're still there, they're still around.
Right.
You can't have them. Oh yeah.
And you know what the sad part is? We have a shared location and I could tell when like I already seen she made a run this morning and I'm like, "Yep, here we go." I really truly feel in my heart that I could potentially lose my friend. Like,
Yeah.
it's that bad. And it's sad because she is the one that inspired me to go on Sublocade.
It's not hard nowadays. I mean, for any user, all it takes is one batch that's too much, and it's
Right.
game over. I mean, it is really, really life or death every time you use out there nowadays, and it's crazy. That's one of the things for some of the people that I've helped. I had to get through their head and help them understand because they had scares and didn't understand like this is serious. You're talking about going and picking up. This could be the last time ever. What's going to happen to your family?
That's
Like
what I said last night on the phone. I had to be a friend, but then I had to be stern because I said, listen, if something happens, who is going to take care of your child? Like, she was so far removed mentally that, like, she's like, oh, well, so and so will take care. Like, no, what are you talking about? You're a mother.
you're planning for it to happen at this point.
Right. And that's the
Yeah.
part that scares me.
He's accepted that she could go. See, that's a scary place too, because that's a place you tell yourself how bad you want to get off. You know that everything has gone to shit, but at the same time, you have decided what the fate of everything is going to be. You've already decided what happens whenever you're gone. So,
Right.
yeah, that's a really scary place, homie. Hopefully she's okay. I mean, hopefully she can pull out of it. She gets a bed, gets her shit together. Because if she can get off of everything, she could go on to Doan or Subs, and
Right.
it would probably be okay. But while she's still using, there's no way.
And
It's
like
just
I had a conversation with her last night because when I was on methadone, I didn't do well on methadone. I told her, I said, maybe you need to get off of everything somewhere and get back on Suboxone because that's what really works for you. She had like 7 years in recovery at one point.
what made her go back.
The guy that she was dating, like, kind of brought her down, and I watched it. And it's that narcissism, unfortunately. And it started affecting my friend, who she was, like, as a person. And then she started drinking with him because he liked to go
Mhm.
out to bars and drink. And she
Yep.
didn't think that it was a big deal to go have a drink because, hey, I'm a mom. I do all my mom duties. I'm out on a date. Let me have a drink. And that's a slippery slope. And that's what I'm scared about when I go back out there in the dating world. I'm scared of stuff like that. I would never want someone to sway me in the wrong way and have that mental mind control over me again. But today I could recognize red flags. Years ago, I didn't.
After that much time, she should have known herself enough to know that she couldn't handle that. I mean, the fact
But
is, she just made excuses for herself.
right, but listen, a man can bring a woman down so easily.
I mean,
And a woman can bring a man down. So it's vice versa. It goes both ways. Like, in the beginning, she thought it was fun. Oh, we're going out on a date. I'm going to get a glass of wine. Then this dude, I kept telling her, I said, he's an alcoholic for sure.
yeah.
Like, I could tell. And I kept saying it to her, like, I don't think you should be going out to the bars with him. Like, and then one night she got into a fight with him and she was drunk and it triggered her to go look for what. And that's where it started.
I've said it before. I've said it on here multiple times. That is the number one thing. Relationships and having issues with your partner is the
Right.
number one thing that causes people to go back. Always. That's because you are just so angry and like distraught because it's somebody you care about, and that's why I mean it's really hard for people because whenever you're using and you're in that lifestyle, you're with certain types of people and you're with people that usually aren't the best. So whenever you get off of everything, you have to understand how to transition and be with people that have a different mindset. but you're still so used to that same type of person, it's easy to fall back in with that crowd, and that's why you have to cut ties.
Like when you have someone that's toxic around you and they're always like, hey, come on, let's go make a run. We could go get more. Oh, let's scam this for. That's what's happening with this person. She
Mhm.
has a particular someone that she runs with that is literally like calling all the shots, manipulating her to keep doing what she's doing.
People make excuses not to all the time. It doesn't. I will tell you this right now. It doesn't matter who the fuck it is. You will live. You will. It does not matter if it's your mama, if it's your brother, if it's your best friend, love of your life. It does not matter, because that person will put you back in a hole and get you in a bad place again. No matter how bad you think it's going to be without that person, it's never going to be as bad as it is in that goddamn hole. So you have to do it. There's no other option.
And honestly, I know that for a fact because, like, even with my situation, it feels so good to be able to look back at yourself and say, wow, I recognize my own healing. Like,
Mhm.
I could look back at myself from a year ago. A year ago, I was scared. I didn't have boundaries with people. I
Mhm.
could not set a boundary. Today, I could tell people to fuck off. Like, I don't care anymore.
I think when people end up getting into that uh, I don't know, bad relationship, that somebody, because like this instance for example, so it starts out and everything's okay, and some people, if they're alone for too long, they're so desperate to find that person, that I feel like she was alone for too long. She was desperate to find somebody. She found somebody that cared about her. So she ignored the fact that, oh, he could be an alcoholic. He could have his own issues.
Well, I made excuse after excuse after excuse for red flags in my relationship. I saw the red flags, trust me.
Right,
But
right.
I got so used to, oh, he cheated again. Yep. He cheated again. Yep. Like it became normal to me.
A lot of that is probably too because you were so used to being down on yourself, and we've talked about that a million times. You were so used to talking shit about yourself. This is something else you have to do if you're trying to recover. If you're in recovery, it doesn't really matter, but you have to find the good. Figure out what the fuck you've done. It doesn't matter when it is. This past week, figure out the things that you've done to improve you, and remind yourself of that. Don't just be in that bad mood and think about everything going wrong in your life, because it's really easy to find the bad shit. It's hard as fuck to find the
You
good
know
shit.
what I used to do that helped me? And I just want to say this as a recommendation. When I was noticing that my relationship needed to come to an end, I got a book from like the dollar store that
Mm.
had dates on it. And I had little symbols so that my kids wouldn't know. Like I wouldn't write like I hate him today. Like I had little symbols for certain things, meaning like I had a good day today or I had a bad day. And
Sure.
I looked through that book because I had that visualization of, oh my God, there were more bad days than any good days. And I saw that with my own two eyes and it
Mhm.
helped me. So if you're struggling, write down like, I'm feeling shitty today, or so and so did this to me today and really pissed me off.
I don't think people understand how powerful journaling is, which Bagmon just said it.
Right.
Um,
It is. It helped me tremendously.
and literally go through your day, because one, whenever you're used to using and focusing on that substance or whatever, it's hard to focus on other things, and your memory kind of gets crappy and shit like that. So if you sit down at the end of your day and literally write out what happened throughout your whole day, and it doesn't matter, you can find 20 bad things that happen throughout the day, that's fine. Find two good things and just focus on that. Have that shit circled and highlighted and all of it, just those good things, and fuck all that bad stuff. That bad stuff doesn't
But can
matter.
I,
You wrote it down.
but, but it's important because when you're in an abusive relationship like that, you really literally start normalizing the abuse. You normalize the red flags. You don't realize that that behavior is abnormal to other people.
That's something that writing it out helps a lot,
Right.
because then over time, especially if you're having that same kind of like bad that you're seeing every day, whenever you write it out and actually go through the day, you can reanalyze it, because in the moment sometimes that's hard. You can be stressed out, maybe you were hungry, you know, a million things that could have had you not quite right and not quite in the right state of mind. So whenever you
Well,
go back, you're able
right.
to analyze.
I think it's a confidence issue, a self confidence issue.
Sure.
I never had self confidence. I was always that girl that never felt like she belonged anywhere. Never. From high school, from a child, I could remember those days of feeling like I'm not pretty enough, I'm not skinny enough, I'm not this enough.
Like I said, homie, it is so easy to find all the bad and everything, and to only focus on that. It's so
Yeah,
easy.
but when you're getting ready to leave a relationship, you need to focus on the bad because you've ignored those red flags for so long that seeing them on paper is life changing. I did it with my therapist.
Right. I wouldn't use the word focus. I don't think focusing on it is the right word. Identifying it is
Right,
the key. You want to be able to identify the bad and focus on the good so that you
right,
can move forward. Because yeah, if you're in a
absolutely.
bad relationship, like you said, you'll make every excuse as to why it's not bad and why everything's going okay. But you have to be able to understand you are good enough. If you're being told you're crap every day, you're just going to believe you're crap. And until you start saying that there's something better, it's never going to change.
And that's what scares me. I'm terrified, especially because of my friend with her situation. She didn't date anyone for like 5 years. She was just a mother. And then when she dated a few people and quickly found this guy. And that's how quick she went downhill. And that right there is something that scares me because I want to talk about this. I don't know what your thoughts are on this, but I'm throwing it out there. What are your thoughts about dating someone in recovery? Would you be fearful as a parent in recovery to choose someone else that has substance use disorder?
It doesn't really matter, and this is just my opinion and kind of how I look at things. Because if I'm gonna, like, let's say Shane and I weren't together and we just had the kids, whatever. If I was going to go into a new relationship, I don't care now if you were a mass unaliver or something. Maybe, that's not the best thing, but it doesn't matter if you were using every day, 2 years ago. It doesn't matter if you have issues with trust or whatever the heck's going on. If that person will enter my life and they will help build me up while I help build them up and everything is good, that's usually not a person that's going to end up going back down that rabbit hole. Now, if they're wishy-washy, if they aren't going anywhere with themselves, if they focus on that negative all the time and it's never fun and loving, that's probably not the right person for me, because you have to have somebody that is going to help you with your journey.
I'm fearful, not that they would make me relapse, but I don't want to bring anyone into my life or my children's life that could potentially cause more issues because they've been through enough.
Why do you have to have somebody that's in recovery?
No, that's not what I'm saying. I think you're missing what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying, but then I
I
mean,
would be fearful dating someone in recovery because I would be
right,
fearful that they would relapse. That's what I'm saying.
right. Then don't date someone in recovery. That is a stipulation that you set yourself. It doesn't matter who it is. If they are someone in
But then
recovery,
also, I think like this people in recovery are some of the best people that I've ever met. And why would I stigmatize my own journey as well almost to not date someone in recovery. I have multiple, I've thought about this a lot because it's one of those things when you're a mother, like, I don't want to bring anyone into my kid's life that could potentially cause more.
Cause harm. Yeah,
Right,
and I get that. And if you're getting close with somebody and you're worried about something like that because they were in recovery, you have to look at yourself. You have to really understand them, and maybe that means you take it slower.
right.
That's the thing. I think that people forget just because, they fall in love with somebody or something. I think people forget you have a choice. And you
Right.
you are the one in control of your own destiny. So,
But trauma bonds and stuff like that, like you can get trauma bonded with someone
yeah,
super quick. Like
yeah.
that's what happened to my friend. It was like instant. It was like so quick. I started to not recognize her. Just the way she talked, everything. It's crazy how quick a man or another human being can bring someone else down. And that's what scares me.
Maybe you need to look at it this way, and I like what Katie just said, because every relationship has potential to go south. That is absolutely true. It doesn't
Right.
matter, trauma bond, whatever. It doesn't matter how you attach to this person. You love them. So why why do you have to go to the bad? If everything looks good, maybe that person in recovery, because they've been through it and they have dealt with all that, they will be more understanding and responsible. You try and date someone outside recovery, they don't know anything about that life. They may want to have a drink in the house every day, or, fart around, because they don't have to worry about that stuff. Now that you just put yourself in danger and your family in danger because you decided to go with someone who wasn't in recovery. I mean, there's always pros and cons to everybody.
Right. And I try to look at both sides of the story and try to I'm just going to be very slow, like you said,
Yeah.
take it slow.
Yeah.
And when I do see red flags, I'm walking away at the first red flag.
Which is fine, because I get it. I would do the same thing for my kids. You're sacrificing your happiness for them.
But honestly, that's what I've been doing for years, sacrificing my happiness for them.
What's a red flag to you? I guess I
Well,
need that
well,
first.
everything so like when someone cheats and then they're like, "Oh, well, I only did it once. I promise I'm not going to do it again." And then you keep finding out that they're continuously doing that. And it's like, how many times am I going to ignore the fact
Hold
that you're doing that?
on. Okay, let me explain this right now to any man, woman in here, in a relationship. Cheating is not a red flag. People do not, no, hold on. Cheating is not a red flag. If they cheat, get them the fuck out. That's not a red
Right,
flag. It should never get to that point. If they're cheating on you, that's a fucking red nuke, motherfucker. Like, no, that red flags, exactly. Jenny said it. Red flags are before that. Red
right.
flags are little things like, uh, they, I noticed they were lying about what we did the other day. Why are they lying all the
So
time?
some of the red flags that I noticed in the at first was he acted like he had certain things that he never even had. He inflated like he had money that he never had.
There you
Oh, I
go.
got property. You don't have shit. You never had none of that stuff.
Right.
And it was a lion. It was he was married twice before the age of 21. That's a fucking red flag right there.
Yeah, 1,000%. See, that stuff like that shows that something is wrong. Like, something's
Right.
wrong in that situation. Cheating is that's done. That is we're over. That should never be acceptable. If you're in a relationship with someone and you can't be honest and straightforward with that person, then you can just get the fuck out, because you aren't right for
Well, that's
your
what
life.
happened to me for years. I got cheated on for a year, the whole time I got cheated on.
That's what I worry about when you talk about getting in a relationship and stuff like that, because if your red flags are all the way at cheating, how much are you going to allow before you hit that point? And I
Well,
think that's
I think I phrased it wrong though. Like I phrased it wrong because the red flags for me was like, oh, I have this and I have that and I'm this and that. And then when he would go around certain people, he would act like he had all these things. Oh, my credit score is perfect. Dude, you don't even have credit. What are you talking about? Like, they're the things that I started to realize. And I'm like, but it was already too late for me. I was balls deep manipulated.
and that's one of the reasons why you got to take things slow, because if you're getting into a relationship and something like that happens, and they are making up all these lies and acting like they're big stuff when they aren't. So
Right, inflating themselves, that's narcissism, that for sure.
you need to address that though. Like if you're getting into a relationship, because you'll be able to see that stuff pretty quick. So if you're getting into a relationship and you're seeing all these lies and like this stuff is lies, why are you doing that? And if you guys can't communicate and have that talk, you guys can't, like, there's no communication, so that one's done. Bye. Because that's never going to go anywhere. That's never going to help you. That's never going to help him. It just needs to be done.
Like my therapist told me, because she has seen some communication between the two of us, classic narcissist, textbook narcissist. But also, I didn't realize that. I swear, guys, I didn't realize what I was in until I got on social media and I started seeing other people post like, you know, um, this person's laying around my house not paying bills. Why? Why was I allowing that? Because the trauma bond was so strong.
And that is something that you have gone to therapy for and worked on for a very, very long time to make sure that you don't fall in that trap again.
Right.
Because if you don't think you could handle trauma bonding with somebody and cutting them loose, then you aren't ready to date. And that's my personal opinion.
I think I'm like getting there though. I'm actually looking forward to dating now.
Like, and that's good. That's it's
But
not
it
a
has to
bad
be the right person. It has to be
right.
like right.
That
And
that's good.
my therapist told me, Marie, you have done 10 years of therapy on yourself. There is no way that you're not going to attract you're going to attract somebody more on your level, not somebody that's not on your level anymore. And
Hell
that's what happened. You can grow past someone in a relationship.
yeah.
I
That was
wanted to grow with someone, but that person chose not to grow with me.
one thing that I will say, and whenever you have kids and stuff like that, you have to be really careful about bringing people around quickly.
Right.
It's just you don't need to be introducing people to your kids.
So me, if I did like start dating, it would have to be like day dates because I don't have time without the kids. The kids are always with me. The kids are going to continue to be with me because things haven't changed. Things have still remained the same from a year ago. Nothing has changed.
That's something that you understand though. So if you want
Right.
to go out on a date with somebody, go to lunch with somebody, get to know them. That's a
Right.
really easy first date that you guys can get some lunch. You can kind of talk about things, let them know, I've got the kids at school, so I need to do this right now. Just be upfront and honest. And if they're good with all that, go ahead.
When would you tell somebody that you're in recovery? Would you tell them right off the jump? Because I'm such an honest person. Like, I don't want to waste someone's time and then them be like, oh, judgmental.
It depends on the person, but at the same time, it's because it's not something that you really need to bring up right away, because you got to understand too, like for me, I do not feel like that is a part of my identity, so I don't need to bring it up on the first date. I don't need to bring that up until maybe we're starting to get a little bit more serious.
I have an opposite opinion on that. I feel like you should tell somebody right from the jump so that they know everything that they're getting into. Because if someone's going to be judgmental, like, I don't even want to be with you. If you don't think that, like, certain medications, like, if you stigmatize recovery, I don't want nothing to do with you.
But if you're gonna end up leaving me just because I'm in recovery, then that wasn't the right one. Move on. Most people, I feel like whenever you're in, I don't know, it's not the same anymore with dating. Dating is not like it used to be. Whenever I was dating, I got to know people and they were my friends. I hung out with them multiple times. We would all kick it, do whatever. And nowadays it's like you're getting on a dating app and you're going out to eat. I don't I didn't do that. I have always been with people that I knew, like I talked to, I worked with, whatever. It was always people that I'd hung out with before. So it is a little different now because I have been on those dates where it's like I didn't know the person from, the next person's ass. And I don't think any of those actually worked out. And you also got to figure out, like, is this person just trying to get in my pants and move on?
Right.
It's very different. A lot of times nowadays, people are all about being a little bit more promiscuous, and they don't hold the same standards that there used to be. So some people just it's all about fucking and moving on, and yeah,
Well, that is a complete, I'm looking for the complete opposite of what I was in before. Like,
right.
I'm going completely in a different direction. I don't want somebody that thinks that they're, like, I don't know. I'm just not attracted to that anymore. Like, it became ugly to me after a while. Like, when I started looking at him, I started feeling like he was ugly to me.
Well, and the amount of I don't know. There's a certain thing as being too full of yourself.
Right. It's not
Yeah.
attractive at all.
Yeah. But
Very misogynistic beliefs. That's the problem. He came from a family with very misogynistic beliefs. I could write a book. Actually, I'm thinking about it.
I've been working on a book for a long time. Not related to any of my life or anything. It's
I
just
could write a book
it's
about
been
his
fun.
family though, and that's what I think I'm going to do. My encounters with how bizarre his whole family was.
You could write a book just on how bizarre that motherfucker is.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it's a
That could be my
interesting.
moneymaker.
Yeah, it definitely could.
I
There's a
got
whole lot of
goals. Hey,
crazy.
I got goals for 2025, and it's to just keep on moving up.
Yeah,
Yes, you're right. Arrogance is a very ugly trait. It
yeah.
is. When someone is so arrogant about themselves, it's it's off-putting, but for some reason, that's what I was attracted to in the beginning.
I think you were attracted to that because you put yourself down so much that whenever you saw that, you mistook arrogance for confidence.
Right.
And you thought, oh, this is a confident person that can bring me up, when really he's just a moron that's full of himself. So yeah, I get it. I understand.
It's just one of those things. And that's why with my kids, I don't want my daughters to have misogynistic beliefs. Like,
Mhm.
I was brainwashed to think that that was all normal. The
Mhm.
things that he told me, like, the things like with his family were normal, like, and they weren't.
All right, you want to talk about we spent a whole hour on that. We still got other things, but we might start running late if we get into that stuff.
Well, whatever else you want to get into.
I'm good with that. We can save the rest of the stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, we can just save the rest of the stuff. That makes all this a little bit easier. Since the kids are out of school, it's a lot to edit and get everything done. But yeah, cool. All right, y'all. We love you
Bye,
guys.
guys. Thank you.